and welcome to another edition of the Pekin First podcast. My name is Josh, and I get the absolute pleasure of serving as the online ministries director here at Pekin First.
Well, hello there, Josh, and my name is Sean. I am the pastor here at Pekin First, and it is my privilege to be able to serve in that capacity as well.
And 1 full year.
Yeah.
Starting your second year now.
That's right. Yeah, I'm starting my second year officially as the pastor here at the church, July 1st. Yeah,
Right, just a couple days ago.
Yep, that's
Awesome.
right.
Awesome.
According to the conference, it's 3 years, so it's rather beginning my third year because technically I started in May, and the conference year starts in July, so I served 2 months and got 1 year's credit for it.
There you
So
go.
yeah, so I'm starting my third year according to them, but it's 15 months basically is what I've been here. Yeah.
Awesome. This is the Pekin First podcast. This is episode 32, and this one is titled "In God We Trust." So a little bit of a patriotic,
Yeah.
if you will.
Tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow is the day, the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
You may be listening to this on the 4th of July because you're laying out by the pool or enjoying a cookout with friends. So we hope you're listening and enjoying a great holiday.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Every week we do this week's personal best. I think I'll go first this week.
Okay.
So last Sunday, we had we've been planning it for a couple months. We had a Chiefs outing for my day job, and it was just nice to we have 3 or 4 different companies. It was nice to get 3 or 4 different companies together, kind of intermingle and watch the Chiefs. It was a little warm, but it was a good time. So I got to bring the entire family. All the girls came. We'll call them teenage girls. They're 19. The oldest one's 19 in the teenage world. But I got to bring all my girls, and it was just a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Those Chiefs games are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, especially when it's nice out, not too hot, but really you could sit in the shade, I suppose, and enjoy those games. My personal best this week was, I think, last night. We actually finished the book of Hebrews last night, and it's always exciting to finish a Bible study. You get excited when you start one, and if anybody who's listening has ever been through any of my Bible studies, they don't ever go the way they're supposed to go. We get off on tangents and go down different paths and so forth, but it's always wonderful. We get to know each other and grow in fellowship together. Those small groups are really, really important for discipleship. And I really encourage anyone who is out there who's not involved in a small group to consider getting involved in a small group, because you can, one of my pastor friends says, if you want to grow, this I know, if you want to grow, sit in a circle and not just a row. And I like that because, you come to church, sit in a row, and you maybe get to know people around you on occasion. But when you sit in those circles and you get together in a small group with each other, John Wesley, our founder of the United Methodist Church, big on those class meetings, those small groups, and just being together, getting to know each other, and studying and learning together. It's great fun. So we did the book of Hebrews over, I think, 7 or 8 weeks, and it was great to be able to read that last verse and come to a conclusion for that. So good stuff.
Gotcha. That's the Bible study. You said you come to church and you sit in a row, and for some of us it's the same row, and we get upset when somebody sits in our row.
That's right.
But very few times have I seen that happen here. So everybody welcome here. For sure.
Absolutely.
All right,
sit in a row.
Absolutely. So this is episode 32, In God We Trust. I'm gonna be really honest. My mind is I'm trying to settle my mind at the same time we're doing this podcast. I got presented a couple issues right before I walked in the door, and it always makes it hard to calm down. But right before we went on the air, I got incoming calls left and right. Right before we went on the air, I took a deep breath just to try to get it calm.
Sure.
So this is episode 32, In God We Trust. And this is all about where we place our faith. Is it money, hobbies? Maybe it's a political person, and that's kind of what we're going to concentrate on today. With access to so much information so fast, we are quick to judge, comment, argue about the state of our country and the world. In a world that's being torn apart, we continue to fuel the fire by posting on social media and not asking ourselves. We make these posts and we don't ask ourselves, does this comment help the greater good?
Right.
Are you making this comment to fuel the fire, or are you making this comment because it's for the greater good? And I just really want to dig into faith in God over everyone else. And yesterday, and I don't know what it set it off. Social media, I'm sure, set it off. But it's just, I see comments coming in left and right, and it doesn't matter from what side. Let me be clear. I am center, period. End of story. And here is why I'm center, because I put no faith in politicians, in politics, in a party. I put faith in God. Mm-hmm. And that is just, and it's taken me a long time to get there, but I don't get angry over politics. I don't get disappointed in politics. I just don't. Yeah. I trust God to work it out.
Yeah, politics is a compound word, Josh. Poly, many, meaning many, and ticks, meaning blood-sucking insects. So that's politics for you. Many blood-sucking insects.
Right.
That's not really what that means, but hey, it sounds right. Politics can really pull us apart, and it can distract us, and it can be used, and I think it certainly is being used by our enemy to bring division amongst Christians, amongst everyone, and it's just dangerous, But we also live in this nation and in this world, and we have the freedom to participate in the political world. But there's a way to do that where you can actually act like a Christian, speak like a Christian, post like a Christian. I want to give them an acronym real quick. An acronym: THINK. Think. Before you post, before you text, before you say a word, before you send the email, think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it important? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If you can answer all those questions with yes, then go ahead. Go ahead, send it, post it, do whatever. If you can't, maybe don't. Maybe don't do that.
So when I took this job here at the church, one of my major things was, I will never, because I'm a representative of this church, and or I feel that I'm a representative of this church, I will never post about politics.
Yeah.
Because number one, I don't take heart in politics, like I told you earlier, and it's not worth half of my friends, one side or the other, being mad at me, right? It's just not worth it. Yeah. And so one of the things we tend to knee-jerk reaction and post things. We read something that I like the true. Is it true?
Right.
Because with AI,
right,
you never know. You
right.
just Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. You never know if it's true or not. Right. And the knee-jerk reaction that we do is what sets it off, right? Because, like I said, I think I said last week, an angry mouth is nothing ever good comes out of an angry mouth.
Right.
And I have a little bit of a story when I was in the car business.
Let me ask you this first before you can tell that story.
Yeah.
Aren't there ways that you can actually test if something is real? Like, aren't there websites or something that if you're reading something and you go, boy, I wonder if this is true or not, can you actually kind of verify it, or are those things fake too?
Well, okay. So, I mean, it's all in how deep you really want to go with it, right? Because you can Google it, and my wife's favorite saying is Google it, right? And does it, I guess you gotta, it takes some common sense, right?
Yeah.
Is this something, I say that, it takes common sense. However, we've seen some crazy things happen whoever thought that we would have a bombing in Pearl Harbor, whoever thought that we'd have a plane hit the World Trade Center, you know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, there's some crazy things that happen,
Right.
but is common sense telling you
Right.
that it's true?
Right.
And yeah, you can Google it, but guess who gives you the answer?
Yeah.
AI.
Right. So you really never know. I mean, common sense is really the key, right? I mean, if cats are walking across the kitchen floor, maybe that's not real. Maybe that's made up. I don't know.
So the knee-jerk reaction from people. So
You're gonna tell a story.
yeah, I'm gonna date myself is what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Okay. So
Where y'all going?
I knew it. As soon as I said it, I'm like, that didn't sound right. So I'm gonna age myself. How about that? Okay. So when I first got into the car business, I worked at Shear Buick, Pontiac, Isuzu for the older Pekinites. You'll remember that car dealership out in North Pekin, and Mr. Shear, who was probably 65 or 70 at the time, told his son Jimmy, who I had a really good relationship with, something had happened in the car dealership, and Jimmy made a call right on his cell phone, because that's flip phones, right? That's when flip phones first came out.
Sure.
And so that's where I'm dating myself. Think about this.
Yeah.
If you tell your kids that, hey, when I remember a time when there was no Google and no cell phones, they'll go, what?
Yeah. Right. Knights in shining armor or something. Yeah. Dragons. Yeah.
So, but Jimmy made a call and made a knee-jerk reaction, and some events happened that weren't so good. And Mr. Shear, who was the older gentleman, said, when I was running the dealerships, you didn't get phone calls like that, right? Because there were no cell phones. You had time to think about it before you said something or before you reacted.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned the first rule of management is to wait 24 hours when you're upset, when you're, I've wanted to fire people for mistakes that were made or whatever.
Yeah.
And you wait 24 hours, because in 24 hours, you're going to think different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So after a big event or a big news story or whatever it is, wait 24 hours, because you might feel different tomorrow. And you might go, oh man, what would I have set off had I said what I said?
Sure. There's a passage of scripture too that just came to my mind when you said that. The passage says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath, which sounds like it's backwards from what you're saying. The idea of the passage is, don't go to bed angry because you wake up hating. But the way I've always thought about it is, before we go to sleep, if we're having a fight, if we're struggling, if there's something happening there, be willing to at least bring it to a close, even if you can't agree before you go to sleep. Let's agree to not agree. Let's go ahead and sleep on this. And then tomorrow morning we can revisit this and talk about this again. I'm going to commit to considering your side. You commit to considering my, whatever it takes. But if we go to bed mad without ever bringing it at least to some kind of a conclusion, it's going to be problematic. But if we can do that, then we have the time to reflect. And ultimately, almost every time, Sandra and I have ever had a spat before we've gone to sleep, the next day we think differently about it, and we have a better conversation around that. And then she, agrees to do what I want her to do.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure that's the way it goes. I heard...
She's not listening, I hope.
I heard something today, and it was a young lady asking an older gentleman, because him and his wife were celebrating 50 years, and she said, what do you credit 50 years of marriage with? And he said, well, she was right today. She was right yesterday.
Today, yeah.
And the day before that, I was wrong.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. I thought that was cute.
Yep.
So, I'm kind of an reactive person by nature. And And the people, my wife will tell you that. I'm sure she told me that 2 days ago. I know she told me that 2 days ago.
And she was right.
I'm 100%. And, but it brings out some good qualities in me because my overreaction sometimes will get things done faster. Right. So, so just remember that when you see a news story or you're scrolling through Facebook or you're scrolling through your snaps or whatever you scroll through, just remember that, number one, it's not always bad as it seems. Get both sides of the story and don't react. Just don't. If you want to participate, 100%, we're celebrating the 4th of July. That is your right in this country to voice your opinion, and that's what this country was founded on. Was for us to, well, it was religion is what it was, to open religion, free religion, but freedom of speech and things like that.
Sure.
So don't be afraid to do that. But just like you said, I love that. I love that. I love that. That's a.
Can
That's
we
a
put
great
that in the
acronym.
show notes?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a couple things that as I was prepping for the show, and I was just I listening, if you will. I went in at 5 a.m. Wednesday morning. What's today? Thursday? Yeah,
It is.
Wednesday morning. I went in at 5 a.m. and had some time to do some personal growth, right? And so I ran into a couple things, and there's two things that I ran into, and one is a Evan Almighty. Have you ever seen Evan Almighty?
Oh, yeah.
And it's, do you know what ARC stands for?
Oh gosh, I can't remember what it was.
Acts of Random Kindness.
Yeah.
And not that that's really what it stands for,
Right.
but it was a great acronym,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it reminded me that get your head or your heart out of the news and get it out of posting and being divided, or it's a them versus us or us versus them, and get involved in your local church or your local community and do some good. It 100% brings faith back in humanity. And for me, I'm volunteering with the chamber tomorrow. Does that impacts a lot of people and brings a lot of people some joy. Kids watching fireworks, and there's going to be a band, and there's kids activities. Man, that watching kids have a great time and adults just kind of relax that's rewarding for me.
Yeah.
It just takes the stress out of what you think the world looks like.
Right.
And the other thing I ran into was a song called "We Were Born to Love," and it was an audition on America's Got Talent. I don't know what year it was. It was fairly recent, and it was a song called "We Were Born to Love," and it made me think of an old, I'll call it old, I heard it a long time ago, was, kids, babies are so innocent. They don't see color.
Right.
They don't see race. They don't see religion. They don't see, they see a person.
Yeah.
And dogs. I thought of this too, just while we were sitting here. Dogs see black and white, right? Supposedly they don't see color. I don't know that we actually, nobody has looked out of a dog's eyes, but research says that a dog sees black and white, but a dog is happy to see just about anybody. Right. The right dog. There's some dogs that are very protective, but a dog is usually happy just to see anybody.
Right.
So just love. Love is the answer. Heather Robertson would be very proud of me at this point because she loves to preach on love. That's her thing. And so those are the things I ran into.
And we all should be preaching on love. If there's a theme that any preacher should be preaching on right now, it's love. That's the heart of it. Jesus said in John 13:34, I have come to bring you a new commandment. A new commandment I give to you. Love one another as I have loved you. And then he said this in verse 35, by this all people will know that you're my disciples when you have love for each other. That's the defining mark of a disciple, is love for each other. And love is a tricky word. I mean, it has all sorts of nuance, and our culture gives it all sorts of things, you know. I mean, I can say I love God and I love ice cream. Is that the same thing? I don't think so. But there's a way to think about biblical love and agape love that is talked about in the Bible that is a deep sort of sacrificial, initiating, without strings attached kind of a love, and that's what Jesus wants us to experience and to give away. And just as you said, the idea of just doing something for somebody else is all the time, 100% of the time, going to be helpful, you know, for the other person and for us. I was thinking about all the folks that in our community who won't get to participate in the activities tomorrow, who, for whatever reason, because they're shut in or because they're homeless or because they probably don't feel like they'd be welcome at the park, or at the stadium, you know, or whatever the case may be. There's because there's mental illness, or because there is, fear or sickness or whatever. There's so many people that are outside of the norm that we experience. You know, our lives are pretty good. Your life, my life, we have pretty good lives.
Yeah, for sure.
And the scriptures are constantly reminding us that there are people who have it way, way worse than us, and our call is to find a way to extend those random acts of kindness, those acts of random kindness to other people, and to help them to understand and know that God loves them as well. So if you don't know what to do with yourself, if you're just feeling like, man, I just wish I could do something for God, just go do something good for somebody. Yeah. And you can't lose.
You cannot lose. 100%. And speaking of doing things for other people's, we have some programs going on here at the church. Good segue.
Yeah.
We have some programs going on here at the church. We're collecting donations for Timber Creek. It's a Timber Creek Health Center is, I believe, what it's called. And the list of donations will be on the website starting tomorrow. And the baskets are here in the church. And it's just things like deodorant and body wash and even door decorations. And I said this in my morning announcements. On my Monday drop, the door decorations. You know, if you just like to tinker with stuff, and my grandfather used to make birdhouses, and he would just give away these birdhouses because that's just that it kept him busy. Yep. He knew that it was making people happy, so he would just give away these birdhouses. And I actually have one, a little birdhouse that he made, but it holds my keys, right? But just if you'd like to tinker with stuff, they need door decorations and stuff like that. So we're doing that for Timber Creek. This podcast was actually sort of kind of based on your sermon last week, because we started a new sermon series on the 10 Commandments. Yep. Want to give us a preview for this week? Yeah,
it'll actually continue on this thread of what we've been talking about today and what we talked about last week, which is putting God first. I mean, the first and second commandments are pretty much intertwined with one another. Commandment number 2 is about not having any idols or not creating any idols. And so we're going to talk about what that means: images, idols, things that we tend to worship in our normal lives, and in ways that are not conducive to putting God first and worshiping God and God alone. And I think we can get a lot out of this, because there's so many things that distract us and pull us away from our faith in God. And it doesn't mean that those things are bad. It just means that we're being drawn towards those things more than we are. God is being pushed out. I think if we're on acronyms today, apparently this is acronym day. Right. Last weekend I used the acronym EGO, E-G-O. When our ego and our pride and our self-centeredness is so great, our ego is edging God out, EGO, edging God out. So we're pushing God out when we allow ourselves to become our own gods, or we allow other things in our lives to become our gods. So we'll continue on that. Absolutely. This sounds like a great time. It's 5:00 Saturday, and if you heard my Monday drop, I'm doing a wake-up call on Monday, just so you know. But on my Monday drop, I got the 8:00
communion service, right?
Yeah, and you just did again, too. Look at that.
Yeah. So we got 5 p.m. Our traditional service is 5 p.m. on Saturday, 8 o'clock communion, shorter traditional service on Sunday morning, and then of course our contemporary worship service on Sunday at 10 a.m. And that one is online on all the platforms. So look forward to seeing you there. If you miss it, you can always go back and watch it, or you can, if you're on the road, a lot of people are on vacation and things like that. If you're on the road, you can listen to it on a podcast that I post shortly after the Sunday service.
Yep.
We have VBS coming up July 28th
Exciting.
through August 1st. It is, you can register on our website. There's a QR code. Register there. This year is centered around race cars. Hopefully be a couple surprises coming for that. And the cool thing is on Thursday night of that, I think it's on Thursday night or on Wednesday. Thursday night is Dragonland swimming. Get to go slide on the slides and all that good stuff. So that is a great time. Now you just talked about Bible study.
Yeah.
And so when does the next Bible study start?
2 weeks from last night. So we're going to take next Wednesday off, and then the following Wednesday we're going to start a new Bible study on the Gospel of Luke, and that's my favorite gospel, and I'm looking forward to teaching through that one. So if anybody is interested in starting a new Bible study, 6 o'clock on Wednesday nights, that'll be on the 16th or whatever that Wednesday is, not the 9th. The 9th I will be heading to Florida to see my folks for a few days next week. So I won't be on the podcast either next week. I'll miss you guys, but I know it's going to be an exciting one, and you're going to have some good guests on next week. So
Absolutely. I was just getting ready to say next week we do have some special guests coming on. So I encourage you to listen to that. The other thing we have going on around here is the Pekin First next year will be doing ministry in Pekin for 200 years. Now, the Pekin community just had their birthday last year in 2025, the 200th birthday. So we've been around just about as long as Pekin has.
Yeah.
And we're having a contest. It is a penny war. So you can drop a penny, you can drop a bill, you can drop a check into the jar that you like. That is the logo that we're trying to come up with. So they got 2 logos picked out. Put your money in the jar that of the logo you like the best, and all that money will be used to put on some activities next year to celebrate our 200.
Yeah. Do you know next year is also the 250th anniversary of America?
Really?
How about that? 1776 to 2026. Yeah. So I thought about that today as I was thinking about 4th of July. I was like, wow, next year is the 250th anniversary, our birthday of our country, and it's the 200th birthday of our church. That's pretty amazing to think about.
Yeah. It's a long time doing ministry here in the local area for sure. All right, I think that's all I have for today. We'll go ahead and cut this off. Do you have anything else, Sean, before we go?
Put trust in God. Today's title is In God We Trust, and it's so simple to say that, and we see it on our money, and we think about it, but do we? Do we really trust in the Lord with all of our heart? Lean not on our own understanding, in all our ways acknowledge God, and He will guide our paths. That's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And such a good scripture. Trust Him. Just trust Him. And place Him number one in your life, and enjoy your life. Do the things that you enjoy. Do your job. Love your family. Love your kids. Have fun with your hobbies. Do all those things, but make sure that God is number one in your life.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, remember that God put us here to do great things. So let's go do great things.